Hey everyone, Michael Anthony here. Van Halen, Chickenfoot, Sammy in the Circle. But anyway, you're listening to the only podcast that is dedicated to breaking down the entire Van Halen catalog one track at a time. And the podcast will rock. Ow!
What is up, all of you rockers, rockettes, and everything in between? You have joined us for a new live edition of And the Podcast Will Rock. Welcome back to all of our audience. If you ever tuned into a live show, you know what's in store, or do you? Chances are yes, but what's in store is a night full of fun, great company, and great music. I am your co-host, Mark Kamier. With me, as always, Corey Morissette. Corey, how you feeling tonight? You ready to get this thing going?
I am feeling great. We've been prepping for this live show all week. We did the big 100th extravaganza on Wednesday.
You did.
Got that all edited up and uploaded today, so that's available wherever you get your podcasts from. I'm working on the YouTube version. That should be up on the weekend, but figured why not? We need a little more Van Halen in our week. Let's just do an entire live show with like half of our patrons and a few special guests as well. So I've been looking forward to this one all week. How about you?
Absolutely. Yeah. Just anytime we do a live show, it's always something to look forward to because we are not alone when we do the live shows. We always have a fantastic panel of awesome guests, usually mainstays within the show, honorary panelists. And that's what I consider every one of these people that are on the show with us tonight. So please welcome all of our panelists. We got Eric Sinich over here, Scott Everett, Ben Andriozzi, welcome, Ben, David Lee Smith, welcome back, Chaz Mataz, Brad Gould, and Heath McCoy, hashtag whatever happened to Heath Murphy. Welcome all, one and all. How you guys doing?
Going
good, man.
Hey,
Happy 100th.
Hey guys.
Yes.
Yes.
100 episodes.
Congratulations, boys. Yes. Congratulations.
We got room for one more, Christy.
deserved.
We got room for
That
one
is
more.
true.
Christy
Yeah,
wants to hop on
we
here.
might get another guest along the way. Who knows?
Hey, always room for one more.
Yeah.
And where is Kevin? The host.
Kevin is out
New
for
host.
dinner with friends
Yeah.
tonight. He figured we weren't important enough. He went and made dinner plans with other people. So.
Well, everyone hoist one for Kevin. What a job, right? That 100th anniversary show.
Yeah,
Guys,
very cool
kudos.
of him too, man.
Yes.
Really thoughtful. He reached out
yes.
to me.
Well
I'm sure you
done.
guys, and he wanted
Yes.
us to all put in, word for the podcast. So.
And
yeah,
we
he's a
really
good dude.
appreciate that. Yeah, a lot
We
of great
do,
comments
yeah.
from all you guys. Thank you very much for that.
Yeah.
Really appreciate
He's
it.
Cool.
he's out for dinner, but he'll be up for breakfast because that's just how
Oh.
Kevin Brown rolls.
Bring
Oh,
that
well
lunch
played.
bell. Bring the
That's
lunch
right.
bell.
Well played.
Yeah. Eric Senich does put the cream in his coffee. He did tell me that.
Whoa.
What was the
He
one?
put that butter on his biscuit.
Corey, if they want
That's for the after-hour show.
yeah,
Yeah.
if they want,
Well,
they
it's
want
after a long night of being spanked. so.
further explanation will require a higher tier on our Patreon. So stay tuned.
Corey,
I
I
need a
was
decoder
trying to-
ring. I'm gonna need a decoder ring for this.
The last
There you
time I was here when Chris L was on, what was the thing that we were laughing our asses off at about something about I don't know, jizz and disappear. Or whatever
come and
the
go.
fuck it was.
The come and go, the ejaculate and evacuate.
Yeah.
Right.
Ejaculate.
Oh my god.
And I said
Ejaculate and evacuate.
and evaporate is what I said. And Chris L
Hey, guess what?
wasn't that a Star Trek episode?
And that is now a design on our merch store. If you go to
Oh,
T Public, I'll
helping
see if
you.
I can bring
All
it up.
right. Because we could not do
Benchmarks.
that.
New
Yeah.
benchmarks. New benchmarks
Yeah,
in
exactly.
content creation. Yes.
Well, everyone, you know why we're here. We've reached a new milestone, not just 100 episodes to our name, which is, that's amazing to me, but also another album in our journey we have completed, and therefore we have to talk about it. There you go. There's some of our the merch you can find at
Nice.
podcastrock.com.
That's great.
It's amazing.
Well
Which
done.
song? Which
Plenty
song was
would
that
indeed.
for? I can't remember.
That was Unchained. That's
Oh, it was
why I ranked it
Unchained.
number one.
Yeah.
Yeah, girls in Plentywood, Montana, back in the late '80s would do anything for a 6-pack of Canadian beer. And if you had a little Van Halen on the old tape deck, that didn't hurt your chances either. So
Plenty of hills and plenty of wood in Montana.
you know what? When I write the book, Ejaculate and Evacuate, I'll have to be on Eric's podcast to talk about it. So.
A memoir by Corey Morissette.
I'll
That's
change
right.
the title of the podcast to Booked on Cock. You know, just for that. Only
Thank
for
you,
that
thank you.
episode. We'll get right back to Booked on Rock
Nailed it.
after.
Nailed it.
So to speak.
Yeah.
Oh, I love
But,
this. Scott says he has a great screenshot of you reacting to that on our Discord, Eric.
Yeah. It is truly, truly funny. That's part of the magic of the live shows. So
Yes.
thank you all for
Anything
tuning
can
in.
happen.
Yeah, anything can happen. And
Didn't miss this.
it's going to be Women and Children First. That's right. That's
Yes,
our
sir.
second album completed in this journey. This is the one. This is the infamous, kind of for a lot of people, last great, or let me not say great. Let me just say last true album of like true blue Van Halen. And then you can say what you will about the Van Halen 3, but like the last hurrah for a lot of people. But also, this is the infamous album that is just disappeared from the stream waves, except for maybe YouTube. So you can, I think you can find it on YouTube, but I could be wrong
This
about
one,
that.
This one is still around. It's a different kind of truth that they
Different
pulled
kind of truth,
everywhere.
yeah.
Oh, my
Yeah,
bad.
yeah.
All right, well then
Yeah.
then forget about what I said. But what I do mean is this is one for the ages, absolutely. So I'm excited to talk about it. I'm excited to talk about this album with all of you guys. I assume, without tipping your hands, you probably have you all have a lot to say about this particular album, or you don't have to. Okay, fair enough. But all right, Corey, how do you think we should get this started?
You know, maybe let's just do a round table, just general impressions of Women and Children first. Because I tell you, coming into doing my own rankings, this was a very tough album for me because I'm like, every single song is solid. But I don't know if there's that one that really kind of elevates it. Like you can look at Fair Warning and whether you fall on the Mean Street side or the Unchained side, there's a couple of tracks that really kind of transcend that whole great album. Like it's very solid, but there's a few tracks that you got to put over and above. And this one here, it's like, man, they're all pretty good. Like there's really not a stinker in the bunch, and it all kind of came down to personal preference. And doing the rankings, man, they were all over the place. We'll see when we get into it. Some tracks, some people on this panel put number 1, and other people on the panel put it number 9. Like they're nice big variants in all the tracks, though. But we do have definitive winners 1 through 9. I can't wait to get into it. But yeah, let's maybe start with Eric because he talks the most, and maybe tell us your initial impressions of Women and Children first.
Oh, what an interesting album, because the first 2 albums are almost like mostly made up of the club days, and then you get a few songs, Jamie's Crying and Dance the Night Away, that were written during the studio process. But this is where you hear the band start to stretch out, Eddie start to stretch out, and he's still doing all these amazing things on the guitar, but he's really focusing on the songwriting more and experimenting with things. And you got some of like the heaviest of heavy songs from Van Halen, like Lost Control,
Lost Control.
Fools. But then you have Could This Be Magic, and something bluesy like Take Your Whiskey Home, and then the songs that have the amazing harmonies in a simple rhyme, and The Cradle Will Rock and Everybody Wants Them are the 2 most well-known ones. But this is probably the most underrated Van Halen album, possibly.
Ooh, hot take.
I would
Maybe,
say, but
maybe it's a hot
because
take.
it's often overlooked.
Yeah.
Mhm.
A lot
I
of
can see
people. I mean, Fair Warning is talked about so much. Obviously, Van Halen 1 with all the hits, 1984 with all the hits, Diver Down hits, right?
Diver Down.
But then you think
Yeah.
of this one,
Yeah.
and it's like you just forget just how badass of an album it is.
Oh yeah.
And Scott in the chat says, aside from Diver Down, which I was listening to Diver Down earlier today, and I agree with them because like even songs like The Full Bug, it's like, man, this should be a lot more popular than it is.
It's going to be an interesting show when we finally complete Diver Down and we get another slew of panelists, probably not unlike what you're seeing right now. And because I know how people have talked about Diver Down, I know how people feel about the covers. I think Corey and I are probably the most positive on that album, so compared to the others. But we'll see what happens. I'm very excited to get into that. But before I do, we're going to talk about this one. So yeah, moving along, Scott Everett, you're up.
This is probably going to be the hardest album for me to rank, and I think it's day to day. My rankings could flip just because there is no standout hits, like Corey said. So it's I love the album, but it's not one of my favorites among the top 6. So I think I'm a little bit different. So it'll be interesting to see where my rankings stack up against everybody else.
Probably not too dissimilar, but as Corey said, the rankings were kind of all over the place. Even I don't know the full scale of everyone's rankings, so it's going to be interesting for sure. Ben, this is your first live show with us, I believe.
My first podcast, actually.
Oh wow! Well,
you know,
you broke the cherry.
Whoa! Oh
You
wow!
guys about the late the teens or so, Panama, and I love this album, even from the cover art, which is just stunning. I mean, the pictures that are taken on this album, I remember getting it and being like, oh my God. And after the first 2 albums came out, they were just, groundbreaking. But these Women and Children and Fair Warning were just like unbelievable. They brought it to a whole different level. Women and Children, it's so solid front to back. It is tough to kind of rank this album, but it really was kind of tribal and really brought you to places. And Eddie was just, came out of all of them. All 4 of them really came together and gelled for Women and Fair Warning. It's a phenomenal album. My top, I go back and forth between Fair Warning and Women and Children. Love it. I love all of them.
Right on.
Well, there you go. Does someone like Davey Lee Smith share your sentiment? How you feel about it, Dave?
Does this answer your question?
Kind of.
Yeah, because this was I got this from that Walmart exclusive first 6-pack vinyl set.
Oh,
that was
yeah.
a Walmart exclusive.
Oh,
Each
right
album
on.
had a backstage pass replica. So that's my little show and tell. But
Cool.
yeah, thanks. I was probably just going to echo what everybody else said, because this is like Eric said, I think this one's pretty underrated in terms of the 6-pack. But honestly, like Corey said, this album was tough for me to rank too, because actually, I think, as a matter of fact, I think the 6-pack is tough for me to rank as a whole, because like a lot of the stuff from the Dave era especially is just so stellar, and this album notwithstanding. But they did some different stuff, and it just seemed so natural to them. And like I said, this was another stellar album for me, and another album that's tough for me to rank as well. So something had to give, but we'll get to that.
Feel like the heads might roll with the rankings on this one, depending on judging on how everyone is already talking about it. There is going to be an argument, at least one, just one. That's my prediction. But hopefully a good and civil argument, but argument nonetheless. Speaking of arguments, Chaz, how you feeling about Women and Children first?
Ding, 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 ding. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. Here's your argument. What the fuck's wrong with you guys? What do you mean nothing stands out on this record? The whole problem is almost every single track stands out for one reason or another.
Right.
Like we were talking before the show, this one's like stacked ranking. It's just rank your favorites, put them in order. There's really not a bad track on this record. And, yes. And I think that's probably why it's overrated or overlooked. And I think it's more like it's overlooked because it's kind of overshadowed by the ingenuity and, like you said, the first entrees into pop Van Halen with 1 and 2, right? And there's a lot of continuity there and a lot of natural extension, but this was so different, and it's so many pieces of different, right? It's kind of what we kind of got in the future was like all this disjointed kind of artistic stuff, right? As Eddie started to express himself more. And like you go look at every damn track and you're like, holy crap, how could this not be in my top 5 Van Halen records when you look at the like individual tracks? Because if you go look at our Chesalytics out there, some of these tracks are in the top 5 tracks, right? So, as a record, yeah, this thing is just, all stand out in my mind. There's it's just that idea. We're just ranking the best here.
He had to plug his charts because, Chaz and his charts, but those are good charts. So yeah. Oh, yeah. And like you said, anyway, this one's highly ranked. So the individual rankings are going to get real interesting.
But so overlooked. Yeah, it's overlooked. Yeah, it's not on my list, but it's clearly deserves to be.
Well, does Brad agree with you? Brad, how do you feel?
I need to trademark something like Chazalytics, I don't know. Bradalicious, we'll go.
There
with
you
that.
go.
Nice, nice.
Brad-O-matic.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So this one, whichever one of you is tracking the Patreon and Twitter feed, I think I had to this morning. I was listening to it on a long drive, the whole album again. I'm like, and when you look at it from a different, over and over again, and try to look at it as a whole, there's not a lot of, believe it or not, if you start listening, there's not a lot of variety. They do a lot of playing around with volume and tempo in a lot of the songs. They go slow, they go fast, going loud and soft throughout it. The harmonies are all there. There's just not a bad song in the bunch. And so I think I sent in my votes 3 times this morning as I was driving, because I was really, it's sort of like, how thin can you slice this thing? Just a great album all around. And so that's it.
Well, hopefully the last rendition of the list you sent was your official one, because that's the one I sent Corey. So that's how going to go down.
Yeah, that's it.
So,
Corey's like, no more revisions. No more revisions.
And then who do I get late? I get Chaz late, but his ballot. But his ballot is burnt anyway, because he bundled his number 1 song with Tora Tora for some reason. You got to rank Tora Tora separately, so we have a burnt ballot. There was a hanging Chad. We can't count it.
A hanging Chaz, you'll be left hanging with
a hanging Chaz.
That's all right. That's all right. That's good. They'll be talking about it.
Way to go! You were too busy with the charts that you fucked up your ranking.
Fucking infamous. Yeah.
Embarrassing, but it's not embarrassing. Heath McCoy is not embarrassing. How you doing, Heath McCoy?
Hey, how you doing?
How do you feel about Women and Children First?
I love Women and Children First. This may be a little bit of a hot take here. I don't disguise my love of the Roth years. I'd put all the Roth stuff above the Sammy stuff, and I love Van Hagar too. But all the Roth stuff, including Different Kind of Truth, is all tops for me. But out of the original 6-pack, I actually think Women and Children First would be my 6th ranking. I love it. I love the album. I don't think there's hardly any weak tracks on it, but something's got to bottom out a little bit, and that one sort of does. It's a weird album. It's Van Halen's such a tight band, and those 6 all through their entire career. But if you think of those 6 albums, they're actually a really tight band. And this one, it's almost like, and this is not a bad thing, it's almost like the train is going to go off the track some of the time. There's this wildness, there's a wild abandonment to it, I think. And some of the stuff almost seems jammy to me, like a song like Fools. It almost seems like a jam type, so like a jam band type of song, So it's a little bit of a different album for that. And I think stylistically it is all over the place, and which is not a bad thing at all. But I love it. Despite what I just said, I love the album.
Hot takes indeed. A little bit of backtracking, but he's staying firm with his bottom 6 of the 6-pack. But look, honestly, if I really think about it, it came a lot closer than I'm comfortable sharing, with making it to number 6 in my own 6-pack judging as of right now. But there's probably 1 or 2 that still fall behind. But I don't know. We've still got time to figure that one out. But until that time, we shall rank Women and Children first.
That's right. And for the rankings, we reached out to all of our lovely patrons, many of which are here, for their rankings, which they submitted. We also got some special guests. I'm just going to run through the list of special guests real quick. Yep. First off, we have Eric Sedich. He writes for the Van Halen News Desk. He does a great podcast called Booked on Rock. You can also catch him on every other weekend working at the Ejaculate and Evacuate, selling discount Canadian smokes and beef jerky.
My work there. Yeah.
So go check him out there. We also reached out to Chris L. from Pot of Thunder, who said in his rankings, Darren Paltrowitz, of course, from the DLR cast and the Paltrow cast. He's had a ton of great guests on there lately. Like Darren's just been killing it. He submitted rankings. Author Steve Rosen, who wrote the book Tone Chaser, about his relationship with Eddie Van Halen, who's going to be on our show in October. Greg Renoff, I don't know if you guys ever heard about him. He wrote a little book called Van Halen Rising. He's probably the Van Halen expert out of everybody on the planet.
Hell yeah.
Jeff Goebel, who I got to give Eric props for hooking me up with. He was able to send in some rankings. He writes for Van Halen News Desk as well.
Yeah.
And Darren's been contributing a lot too to VHND.
Oh, awesome. Great,
Yeah,
great.
really cool.
We also have the lovely Kelsey Van Halen, everybody's favorite. She submitted rankings. Greg Pareto, maybe you could tell us a little bit about him, Eric. That was another Eric find. He writes for Guitar World magazine.
Oh, he writes for everything. I mean, Greg, you'll see his name everywhere. He's written a ton of great books, and he writes for all wrote for All Music. You name it, he's everywhere. Greg's been on my show many times, and he covers all sorts. He wrote one of my favorite books too on Blind Melon and Shannon Hoon, among many others. But Greg's a great guy.
Yeah, fantastic.
You got to have him on. He's a great guest.
We're working on it. We only got 27 shows left, Eric. We're running out of
there's only so many.
time, I guess. Yeah.
Hey, I just want to give our best to Steve Roth too, because I saw on Facebook he went in for some procedure in the hospital. So he's he's coming out of that. Yeah,
absolutely. All the best to our good friend. We also have Sean Geek and Fast Fret from the Sean Geek and Fast Fret podcast. They submitted rankings. Johnny Bean from the very popular YouTube channel. Yep. He probably has the most controversial rankings. I can't wait to dig into his a little bit more. And a late entry, Chris Gill, co-author of Eruption. He was able to submit some rankings. So really an all-star panel. Scott is asking for Steve Roney and Scott Davis, who wrote the book Pictures Alive. I reached out to them, but I didn't hear back. So no rankings from that, unfortunately. But I know, Scott, I believe you picked up a couple of copies of their book. It's really a great book, and we had a lot of fun having them on the show. But that's our who we got rankings from. There's over 30 people here. What we did is we asked everybody rank your songs from 1 to 9, and some people like Chaz didn't get the memo, and they would bundle Tora Tora. And what I find is like nobody ever bundled Tora Tora with Loss of Control. They always bundled it with like other songs. I'm going to put it with And the Cradle Will Rock. Okay, well that doesn't lead into that one, but sure. But so all those ballots got burnt, or else if I had time, I reached out to him and say, hey, fix your fucking rankings. It's not brain surgery. Come on.
It must
but Chaz,
be. It must be.
For Chaz, I didn't have an opportunity because I just got his today. So, but I do have his list here, so we can talk about it when we get to it. But we had everybody rank their songs 1 to 9. Your number 1 song got 9 points, number 2 8, number 3 7, and all the way down. Your number 9 song got 1 point. I compiled all the points, and we have our ultimate women and children ranking. So, Mark, if you're ready, without further ado, I can get going here with the song that finished at number 9.
Let's do it.
All right, so I'll just play a little bit of it, and then I'll bring the graphic in. Let's see if anybody can guess. This one, I think, is kind of obvious.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Everybody's nodding.
I figured.
That's right. That's Tora Tora. Finished at number 9. It got 60 total points. Its highest ranking from people was 3rd. Its lowest ranking was 9th or last. 20 people out of 30 picked it to finish 9th. So its final totals are 20 times it was picked 9th, 3 times 8th. Nobody picked it 7th. 4 people picked it 6th. 1 person picked it 5th. 1 person picked it 4th. 1 person picked it 3rd. So Tora Tora, the little instrumental that leads into Loss of Control, finishing 9th. I can't say I was surprised. Is anybody?
I'm surprised more that it got a vote for 3rd place. Like that's pretty high. That's
I was
real
gonna
high.
say the same. That's something.
Like somebody really likes that little interlude song,
And you know who it was?
Who
Johnny
was it?
Bean. I said Johnny's rankings would be the most interesting. He picked Tora Tora 3rd.
Wow.
He must have something about that track must really speak to his soul on a level that we're just not ready to accept, or we just can't possibly comprehend. That's the only explanation. Or either that, or maybe there's something else entirely. So, Johnny, if you're listening, get back to us with that. Not because we want to roast you. Like, I'm genuinely want to know why. Like, what was it that brought it up to your top 3?
Maybe he had a little loss of control when he was touching the keyboard.
I mean,
maybe. But I got to ask Chaz, because he's on the call. You put Tora Tora number 1, and you bundled it with another song.
So, right, because I just forgot. So I knew it was a lead in. I just forgot because now
You forgot
again,
which song?
Well, like I said, this is, and I love this record. I've got it too here, but it's actually on the jacket on the back of the album. The tracks are not listed in the order that they appear on the record.
Yeah, that's
So
that's true.
so for in that regard, for me, this is of course the lead in then to Loss of Control. They go together as far as I'm concerned. Anytime you have those things, that's where I'm like with you guys. I'm like, come on, just. It's like, the Zeppelin thing. There are certain songs that just, one leads to the other, and that's the way it is. Just leave it that.
Yeah, I think
Even
I
in
want
the
to.
That's just my vote. I'm a bias that way.
Even in the video they did for Lost of Control, that weird, I don't know if you guys have seen it, but that weird video
Yeah.
with Dave's
Yes.
Hospital.
Dave's a surgeon and stuff.
In scrubs.
Yeah.
Tortora's part of that. That's part
Yeah.
of the video. It's they lump them together there. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's where it is for me. So it's at 6. So,
The other
Always
weird thing is
considered
you could have
Growth
growth
a
as an
lost control.
individual track. Growth
Mhm.
could be just its own track.
Yeah.
It could be. It's not
It's not
listed as its own
listed.
track, so we
Not-
don't know.
No, yeah.
No, yeah.
I actually prefer Growth to Tora. I think
I
think
actually
it's
do, too.
I wish they
Same
would
here.
have
Its own album
followed the
Growth,
original
right.
plan and had Fair Warning begin with,
Yeah.
Growth.
Or
Like,
it's supposed to be a fully flushed out track
yeah.
for
Yeah.
growth.
Well,
Yeah.
you can't really
That was
beat-
such a cool idea. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's Tor. Anybody have any thoughts on that one? That's pretty.
Any extra thoughts on Tortor?
I think
Yeah,
that
so I tell you what-
I think that's right. All 6 of the classic, the original albums, they all had an instrumental, right? And I think it's got to be the weakest instrumental of not. It's got to be the weakest instrumental of all of the original 6 albums for sure.
I would think.
Well,
And
is it
Scott
by
Monroe
this-
hit it right on the head. He
Well,
said Scott Haskin would have had it first.
Yeah.
Not maybe, probably, because he's a composer. He loves instrumentals. His favorite Aerosmith song is the movie, the instrumental from Perfect Vacation.
Yes,
So I bet you he would have put Tor number 1.
of course. Poor Scott Haskins not even here to defend himself.
He'll
He
show
just-
up.
he just-
He'll
he
appear
just-
in the ether somewhere.
He just did.
He's like an
actually.
STD.
Oh,
He just
Scott
pops up.
I'm going to say this though. I think it's a really good intro to Loss of Control. It's very smooth. It's very seamless. Where I think there's one or two where you hear a little bit of a staggering, like Intruder and Pretty Woman go really well together. And I feel like
Right.
Loss of Control on its own. It's whatever. I mean, Tor on its own, whatever. But it's really good with Loss of Control. So
Yeah, I think that too. They go together perfectly.
Yeah.
They're actually they complement one another. Loss of Control is Tora's reason for being. Sort of.
Right.
I mean,
right.
well,
It's like one of those
kinda.
like suction cup fish that ride along with the whales. What are they called?
I mean, it's
Fair.
obvious. It's obvious.
Remora on a shark.
It's obvious some kind of self-indulgence for the brothers. I mean, as a track on its own, it's fine. So it's obviously low-hanging fruit, and I'm gonna take that low-hanging fruit. But nothing wrong with it. It's just there.
It's a little mini mad scientist Eddie moment,
Sure.
Backwards
It's a backwards
guitars and-
backwards mass dive bomb. Yeah, that's
Right.
that's a Eddie moment right
They
there.
they wanted to put like the sound of wind to start it, and they
yeah.
for whatever reason decided not to.
Yeah,
Act
like
like it
wind,
hurts
dude.
is what Ed wanted to call it. Act
I don't
like
know
it
if
hurts.
that would have helped it or hurt it. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
Now, Mark, just for our rankings, I had it number 9. You had it number 8. So there was
I
a
had
track
number
you
8,
liked
yeah.
a little bit less than Tora.
There was,
There-
just
Hey.
just a little.
Eric, were they in the studio longer on this one than?
Oh, no.
either- No.
this
was
one
it?
was about 2 weeks at the same.
It was
like,
2.5,
okay.
like 17 days.
Okay.
Like not a very long time.
Yeah,
Wow.
God.
Okay. So right, not what I was thinking. Okay.
right.
Jeez.
Right, because this is like we're laid back. Just turn it on, let it roll. Oh yeah, check
Yes.
this out. Yeah, right. So
Well, yeah, and Ed had a lot of time on the road to write some stuff, so
yeah,
he was
Only 17
not
days.
as improvised as it sounds.
Incredible.
That's
Okay,
insane.
getting them out of the
That's
studio.
always their
Can't-
thing. It's really not as improvised as it all sounds. No, he spent
Well, that's-
hours, right? Even if it was
that's
just on the
Dave,
corner
you
of
know?
his bed, right? Well,
Oh,
you
yeah.
just Eddie
Dave.
by himself, but
But that's
yeah,
so Dave, right? I forgot
yeah.
the fucking words, and then the
Right,
next night,
right.
I forgot the fucking
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I forgot the fucking words.
yeah, yeah.
It's
Never
brilliant.
gets
The
old for
other
me.
day, somebody was
I don't
talking
care.
to
It
me
never gets
about-
old.
It never gets old. But somebody the other day who's not like big fan, they were like, I'm not sure if that was like Dave just making that up or not, and I didn't want to ruin it for him, so I didn't say anything. I'm like, it was made up.
Like you've seen
That was
WWF, right? Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
All right. Well,
Dave.
that's number 9. Let's see what all of our panelists think Lost of Control, or sorry, Tora Tora should have led into. Is it Lost of Control? Is it a different track? Let's find out. The track that finished in number 8. And it's Lost of Control. Really surprised by this one.
I'm really surprised.
Lost of Control, 106 total points. One person had it at number 1. 2 people had it at number 9. So it finished 9th twice. It finished 8th 8 times. It finished 7th 8 times. Finished 6th 3 times. 5th 5 times. 4th 1 time. 3rd 1 time. 2nd 1 time. And 1st 1 time. So Lost of Control, number 8. I'm honestly kind of surprised it's that low. Anybody else?
Yeah.
I'm shocked it's that low.
Me too.
I'm wondering if we have people who voted this number 9, is it because it is the song that follows Tora Tora? Is that why? Just because the two belong together, you think? Or does this Van Halen swing style just not do it for you? I don't know. I'm curious to find out. So
I voted it pretty low. I had Tora Tora at 9 and Lost Control at 8.
Okay.
I think it's I like it. It feels like a half-written song. It's frantic, and that's kind of its charm. I like that about it. I love what the brothers are doing. I think Dave is like, it sounds like he's struggling to keep up. You know, he was throwing whatever he could at it, and he's sort of struggling to keep up. I think that the Lost Control chorus is sort of, I can do without it. It's sort of grating. I mean, I don't hate it, but it's never. What the brothers doing are amazing. But I've never.
Right.
It's just, I gotta say, it's my least favorite song.
I tell you, the 2 people that ranked it 9th are Michael Griffith, who's a patron of ours, been on the show many times, and Johnny Bean again had Lost of Control. Number
Johnny
9.
Bean, he strikes again.
Not a fan, yeah. I'll just look here. Somebody had it first. Who the heck was that? Per Lineker had Lost of Control number 1. Yeah.
He feels Lost of Control is wunderbar, and hey, look, I don't blame him on that. I'm gonna throw it over to Brad. Brad, how about you? Where did Lost of Control end up for you, and how you feel about it?
It actually was pretty high. I had it 4.
Okay.
I mean, just
does
listening
Scott
to
Monroe.
it, it's shredding, right?
Yeah.
You know, Dave couldn't. You know, Dave's up there in the high pitch, but there's just something about it. That thing is just. It's like gasoline. And so, yeah, I'm surprised it's 8. But, you know.
I am too. I'll just go ahead and I'll piggyback off of you, Brad. It was my number 5. And it kind of surprised me that it reached that high. But then, I don't know, I listened to it a couple of times, and it just kind of rips really good for me. And maybe I'm just in that headspace in this given point. But I couldn't make it in my top 3, but it just felt like if I don't put it at least in my top 5, it wouldn't feel authentic to my whole journey with it. But so I was shocked that's where it landed for me. But I get it. I'm right there with you. Chaz, how about you?
Well, now feeling vindicated and validated, I will say. This one came in at 6 for me on an album of 8 tracks, Corey, not 9. So anyway.
Wow.
No.
I didn't set the track listing. I didn't make the track listing.
I'm kidding.
Blame
so,
Warner's.
this would be at 6 for me. So right in the middle for me. This track, I love it. So I put it kind of in the category with another one that's so frantic and kind of crazy that we had just listened to, One Foot Out the Door. You know, it's kind of in that space that I love Van Halen for just this reason, if for nothing else, to help me clear the room so we can, do things less discreet with fewer witnesses. This is music that helps you do that. So, it was always good fun. And actually, like, even when I was in high school, before like Anthrax and a couple other bands, this was kind of precursor to moshing. When this song came on, we all kind of went a little nuts, and we like slamming each other and pushing each other around and shit. So nothing but good times with this track, like over bonfires in the woods in New Jersey with, substances and liquids and girls and good times, Can't
Well, if you're
complain
gonna
about this
lose
one.
your shit, it might as well be to Loss of Control. So
Why not?
Yeah,
Exactly.
can't blame you for
That's
that
it.
Throw it over to Scott Everett. How about you, man? How did you feel about this one?
I had it 7th. I feel like it's one of those songs that may have been better as an instrumental. It kind of reminds me of the Sammy era, like Source of Infection, where the lead singer is just desperately trying to hang on to keep up with Eddie and Al at the time, and trying to throw lyrics on something that really they couldn't keep up with. So I like it, but I think it's just as and I'm by no means a songwriter or lyricist, but I would think it would be difficult to come up with something to match the pace at what they're playing at that point.
You're not wrong.
No, you're not now. Mark, before you go to somebody else, we just got Tom Armbruster in the chat. The Enchanter Tim is here. He had Loss of Control number 3.
Wow,
Tom, just so you know, because you joined in a little bit late, it finished 8th. So maybe just type into the comments why you picked Loss of Control 3rd while we go around the room and finish up with everybody's comments here.
Right
Go,
on,
Tim,
right
go.
on.
Go, Tim.
There you go. There's another high ranker. Ben, how about you, man? Where'd you put it?
Yeah, so it was the two songs are really, I've always thought, one song, and it's really almost an instrumental. Dave's keeping up, and the fan I am of Dave, he's kind of not really relevant in this song as much. It's Eddie and Alex just going wild, and but like I said, the album is so solid front to back. This kind of being, I bundled them, and because to me they were always the same kind of unit. So, but quality nonetheless.
Right on, right on. Good stuff.
To me,
All
this
right,
was kind of their musical sense of humor. Honestly, for what you guys are saying,
Yeah.
like, who the hell could keep up with this? So let's just fuck around, because man, people need to hear it, and let's just have a good time. To me, it just added to the whole aura and mystique of the band, because all the other tracks were so strong.
Maybe that was the gag all along. It was
I
just
think it
like,
might have been, dude.
we're gonna play as fast as we can, and whoever can keep up is like, all right, you're our boy. It's like they were testing Dave. Like, he sometimes passes, sometimes he doesn't.
Well, I would love to hear the story of this song. Like, how was this one done? What the hell was going on? Be a fly on the wall for that session, man.
You may all be right. It may have just been like a jam sesh that just became kind of like bullshit, and then they, attempted to make a song out of it. I don't know. Either way, the end result, at least for me, is pretty great. But Davey Lee Smith, how did you feel?
I had the 7th. Honestly, if, like I said, this album was tough for me to rank. So if you took my 8th through 3rd right now, like, get back with me next week, I might change my rankings. Like, honestly, like 8 through 3, like, I could have my 8th right here, my 7th right here, 6th barely over, 5th barely over. Like I said, this was tough for me, and I already knew with this song because of Guitar Hero Van Halen. Actually, some of the songs from this album from Guitar Hero Van Halen I already knew, and I loved all of them. Spoiler alert, this one notwithstanding, but I love the fast pace, the Brown sound in full effect. Any track that has the Eddie Van Halen Brown sound, I'm all in. And Dave's radio chatter this year, Captain speaking, is always funny. Just the way they deliver it at full pace, and then at the end where they were like high pitched banshees along with Mike. I mean, just. It doesn't get any better than that, honestly. But like I said, this one, even though it's on the lower half of my rankings of Women and Children First for now, still kicks ass.
Yeah, I'm with Scott Monroe on that one. Just the howls. I mean, just speaking on a vocalist standpoint, the howls they're fun. They're fun to hear. They're fun to try and attempt and fail at them, but they're fun to listen to. So. Eric Sinich, though, where could you possibly? Because you're known to just love everything Van Halen touches, like even the stuff that we feel isn't lovable, but you find a way. So how in the world are you gonna rank this particular album?
I had Loss of Control at 8, and the only because it's kind of like the Pleasure Dome, of the Sammy era, where the music is fierce. And the opening is Hello, Tony Iommi, right? It's Black Sabbath opening. But then the rest of the song is like punk. In fact, that's Eddie wrote it around the time he wrote Ain't Talk About Love. So it's a little poking fun at punk. But it's like if Eddie ever wrote an instrumental or recorded an instrumental album, this would be one. That'd be perfect. And it actually has one of the coolest guitar solo moments in all of Eddie's songs. What they do there, it goes... comes back and it's like, wow. So I could listen to this song anytime, anywhere. I have it down lower only because it's it's one of those songs where, yeah, Dave was just trying to do something with it, but it's more really would be perfect for an instrumental album.
Yeah.
But still, yeah, I mean, hey, having Dave on it, no complaints here, but there are other songs that go to the top more because of the better lyrics that Dave delivers.
For sure. Yeah, definitely feel that. All valid points all around. So, Corey, did you say where you put Loss of Control?
No, I had it at number 7. So I kind of agree with Davey and Eric there. Instrumental, I think, would have worked a little bit better. To me, it was kind of like surf rock, like Dickie Dale.
Yeah.
It always kind of reminded me of Misralou from the Pulp Fiction soundtrack a little bit. Yeah. So it kind of gave me those vibes. Yeah, I kind of I check out on the chorus a little bit with the Loss of Control and all that, but musically, this thing's phenomenal. But on an album of really solid songs, and like Davey said, check with me in a week. It might be number 3. Who knows? Like
one just barely over the other.
To me, it's kind of like the Inside of the Dave era. I know you guys weren't big fans of the song Inside. I love Inside, but it's same kind of vibe and feel, right? Just they're totally just fucking around, but the proficiency of that fucking around, I wish I could do that, right?
Just real quick.
I'm glad to meet somebody else that liked Inside. I love Inside.
Love Inside.
It's always crap on Inside. I love the groove of that song. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, just to piggyback on you two real quick. Sammy wasn't a fan of it because he says, "Hey, what kind of crap is this?" That sums up that song.
Whatever.
I had a friend who said it sounded like Pink Floyd, an old college roommate, because he wasn't into Van Halen much, but he loved Pink Floyd. And I was like, yeah, I guess so.
Well, I'm not into Pink Floyd, so that makes sense.
Not the one I would have gone to, but sure. We'll go.
One of these days, I'm going to cut you into little pieces, right? Sounds like that.
I suppose so. Well, there you go.
All right. What do you think? Should we go to song number 7?
Well, we gotta. I'm curious to know.
All right. Well, first of all, Loss of Control. When we did our poll, 85.6%. What dreams are made of. So not the lowest on the album.
Nope.
Still passable. People still were pretty keen on it. Yeah.
The lowest on the album is the next song in our rankings here. It is playing
very slowly. Yeah.
Anybody hear an acoustic guitar?
Yeah.
Put up the campfire.
Yeah.
Let's all get together. Gather around.
That's
campfire.
Right.
That's right. Could this be magic? Finishing at number 7, Could This Be Magic? Total points, 107. Just 1 point above Loss of Control. So if Chaz had to burnt his ballot, that may have made the difference. Who knows? Its highest ranking was 2nd. One person ranked it 2nd. Its lowest ranking was 9th. 3 people ranked it 9th. 8 people ranked it 8th. 7 people ranked it 7th. 3 people ranked it 6th. 3 people ranked it 5th. 3 people ranked it 4th. 2 people ranked it 3rd. And 1 person ranked it 7th. So Could This Be Magic coming in at number 7. I kind of had this one pegged at number 8 when I was kind of predicting. And it did finish in that spot on a lot of ballots. But number 7 in the rankings. What do you guys think?
Well, let's see. I'm going to throw it over to Eric. I'll start with you, man. How do you feel about it?
Yeah, I had... I think I had this at 6, yeah. This is actually this is a really interesting song. Actually, the sound of the rain I love, and it's actual rain. At the Sunset Sound Studios, it was raining out, so they just opened the doors and recorded. And it's one take. And Ted Templeman said to Eddie, just try something with a little bottleneck slide. And Eddie was like, I don't know if I could do it, but they tried it. And you're hearing Dave on guitar here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's him.
And Nicolette Larson on background book, yeah.
Fellow Warner Brothers artist, and Ted Templeman was producing her. So in turn, Eddie's on one of her albums. Yeah, it's a really interesting song, and it's very cool. And it's this is like really more of what Dave would start doing in his own solo career.
Definitely a different sort of vibe than the rest of the album for sure. But sometimes Van Halen's really good about doing that. Scott, where did you have Could This Be Magic?
I had it at 8. Just kind of a throwaway, fun Van Halen song. I kind of love the interplay between Ed and Dave during the lyrics and that sort of stuff. It sounds like they're having a lot of fun in the album, which I appreciate. But it's just one of those songs, like, they're having fun, but it's not my favorite song on the album.
Fair enough. Yeah, that's yep. I kind of I echo that sentiment, but we'll get there. Ben, how about you?
Yeah, I had this at 7 too. I love this song. Sail Away with Someone's Daughter. I mean, it's classic. It's classic. Gotta save the women and children first, and it goes with the cover and the rescue with them on the front cover. It's unbelievable. It's just a great campfire song. Just jam. Love it. Blues.
Campfire jam. That's like perfect way to describe it. That's very accurate. Absolutely. Davey, how you feel about it?
That's at 8th. Like I said, and, this is kind of an unfair pick to kind of compare with like the all the other songs on the album, because all the other songs are the rock songs. So it's kind of I feel really bad to put this down at 8 because I love this as well. I love this a whole lot. I love the fact that they don't take each other. They seem like they're having a lot of fun together, and they're not taking anything seriously, and it's just so much fun, and I laugh along with it. And it just seems so natural with them, especially with some of the stuff like this they would do in the throughout the six pack. Like I guess another good example. I know you guys haven't talked about this track yet, but Big Bad Bill is Sweet William Now from Diver Down. Not a rock song, but it just or hey, I guess Happy Trails too. It just all seems it just all seems so natural with them, and they're not taking anything seriously, and it's just so fun with them, and I laugh with them whenever they do this kind of stuff. And the acoustic bottleneck is cool, and Dave playing acoustic rhythm, and it's just country blues. It just fits in with Dave's style, and Dave can only sell this song so well. So this is in his wheelhouse for sure.
It's funny you mentioned Big Bad Bill. Scott Monroe in the chat also shouted out that one, and he called this, in his words, "It's cute." He said, talking about that song and Can This Be Magic? So
Damn's fighting words.
Yeah,
Cute. I'll give you a cute.
condescending
I don't
cute.
think Eddie would have liked cute.
Oh.
I don't know.
Probably not. But look, yeah, even Jeff Brewer is jumping on that as well. Hilarious.
Yeah,
but,
call Al Van Halen cute. I don't know.
I don't know. Well, Jazz, we're going to you. Do you echo the cute sentiment, or do you got stronger words?
This song is so cute. I love this song.
Where'd you put it?
I love Big Bad Bill. It was it would be 8 for me, or 9 in the context of me combining the two. So it's last, but I love this song for everything it is, everything that I echo everything that Davey Lee said, man. Absolutely. Nothing bad about this song at all. It's just in terms of my ranking favorites, it just had to come in somewhere. And yeah, I'm more of the, brown sound crunchy Ed, but I love it for this, the spirit of the band. It's here on full display. And that's why there's such a contrast between, what we know and what we've come to know about the relationships, right? But what came across and what was really being put forward, man. I really was like, this was a band of brothers and they were having a blast. And I just wanted to be a part of that shit. And this is a part of that, like the culture of Van Halen to me, like coming across beyond the music.
You can definitely hear the fun. That's absolutely true. So I get you there. Brad, where did it fall in line for you?
Right at 7. Great harmonies, right? But that's what this is. It's clever lyrics and great harmonies. Dave played a little guitar, but the harmonies were so good that to me, I moved it up the list, right? But yeah, I can see the Big Bad Bill connection as well. So
there you go. Can't wait till we get to that one, because then now I'm just going to be listening for all the chemistry magic isms and all that. Heath McCoy, where did it fall for you?
For me, it was at number 6, and I'm a huge fan of this song. I love Van Halen's the detours. I agree that with the Big Bad Bill thing and the shooty wop thing they did, and I'm the one and everything. I love those little detours Van Halen would take with Dave. I think they did them so well. And for me, I think of Van Halen in the Roth era, especially, as like a band of pirates almost. And this song speaks to that so perfectly. This lonely ships upon the water, better save the women and children first. It's like a pirate, campfire pirate song, or a sea shanty or something. Or I love the country blues vibe of it, and I think it feels so genuine too. Like it was a lark, but I don't think it was a gimmick. Like I think it's actually just naturally comes out of Dave, and I just love it.
There you go. There it is. For me, I kind of echo what Chaz has said and Davey Lee, and this came in 9th place for me. Not because I think it's a bad song at all, not because I just like absolutely hate it, anything like that. It's just ranking this album, as you all have said, was difficult, and that one just sort of just for me felt just a little bit out of place with the rest of the vibe and the flow of how Women and Children First go. And I know that's kind of odd to say when you really think about the tracks, and it's like there's a flow.
Not at all.
Yeah, it's like there's a flow, but there's not like a it's only again what Chaz said, like give me Crunchy Eddie, and I love me some acoustic stuff, and when Dave does acoustic blues well, he does it very, very well. That's his wheelhouse. So this fits for him. So though it's my number 9, not shitting all over it, so that it had to go somewhere.
Something had to give.
Yeah.
Yep. And I put it at number 8, and I think largely just because it's been stuck in my head for 2 weeks straight. Like out of all the songs, I listen to this record front to back so many times. Out of spite, I put it at 8 because all week I'm walking around the office. You better save the women and children.
Oh yes,
pissing off everybody I work
earworm.
with.
Yes,
Yeah, earworm, big time.
Classic.
Oh,
So,
you bastard! Oh,
I got to shout out Sean McGinnity. He put this number 2. He was the one who ranked "Could This Be Magic" number 2. So
He must have like I'm assuming he's probably played it a whole bunch, or he just has like a connection with it in some like deeper level. So again, I'm not going to shit on him for it because it's a good track. It just for all of us, it had to go somewhere, and it's just a little bit low.
This might be the most varied album in terms of rankings. You get all different kinds of stuff.
right. Yep.
that's right.
This is an outlier track. I mean, that's for me why it's kind of removed. It's at the bottom because it's outlier. It's an outlier.
And for the fans who voted in the poll when we did the song, it was the lowest ranked song on Women and Children First, 81%. What Dreams Are Made Of. So it's still much better than pretty much any Sammy album we've done.
That's what I wanted to
81%.
say. Thank you very much. There you go.
Unreal, man. Unreal.
What are those numbers going to come in at? 27 more tracks.
Jeez.
All right. Should we take a listen to what finished number 6?
Please.
Wow.
Well, we got some surprised faces on the call. Love that intro, though, man. Number 6, Fools. All right, total points 133. Somebody ranked it number 1 and somebody ranked it number 9. So there's another one. It's somebody's favorite and somebody's least favorite on the record. One person ranked it 9th, 3 people 8th, 5 people 7th, 11 people had this as their number 6. That was by far the most spots it finished on. Number 5 for 3 people. It was 4th for 1 person, 3rd for 3 people, 2nd for 2 people, and number 1 for 1 person. You talk about varied. We're all over the map on Fools.
All over the place. All right. Well, full disclosure, I'm right there at number 6. I was one of those, and again, that's great. Listen to that. That's just fantastic.
By the way, the person who ranked it number 1, Steve Rosen, who actually knew Eddie Van Halen for 27 years, ranked this one number 1 on the record.
That's amazing. Well, kudos. And again, I'm not going to fight him on it. The thing is, and I'm sure you all can echo this sentiment, we'll probably talk about it ad nauseum, it's just some of these tracks, it's like, where in the world do they go? I knew exactly what my last track was going to be, and that helped me inform what my 8th pick was going to be. But 1 through 7 for me was really, really hard because these are just like really, really good songs. Fools is a terrific song, and I wanted to kind of get it in my top 5, but it just barely didn't make it. But again, it is a dirty riff, Scott. It is not indicative of how like piss poor or really great the song is. I mean, because it's fantastic, but something had to give. It had to go somewhere. So I imagine you guys probably had like the same reaction there. Ben, how about you? Where do you think? Where did Fools fall for you?
Yeah, I had it at 6 as well. The lead in this is unbelievable. The shades of Eruption, the shades of Spanish Fly.
Yeah,
It's just it is just it's a wild song. This could have gone higher. I kind of fit in number 6. Again, nothing so solid, but yeah, I would say.
I agree with Jeff in that should this be higher? Yeah, probably. And I actually thought I was going to take a lot of flack for having it at my number 6. But I was like, well, hear me out. But I'm glad I wasn't alone in that venture. But how about Heath McCoy, though? Heath, where'd you have Fools? You're muted.
Oh, you're muted, Heath. You're muted, Heath. Heath, you're muted.
Oops, I'm sorry. I love the song Fools. I do think it's a little weird. Like I mentioned that some of Women, Children First seems like a jam to me. And this is one of those songs. This is the song actually. It feels like a big long jam. But I love the heaviness of the riff, and I actually think there's a lyric in here that's just quintessential David Lee Roth. I just love it. Don't want no class reunion. The circus just left town. Why behave in public if you're living on a playground? Like, that is such a cool lyric. That's there in a nutshell is why David Lee Roth is such a great lyricist. Nobody would ever think of that, and it's just such a. It just comes out of left field and encapsulates the song, and love it.
Yeah, I agree. His lyrics come out of left field, that's for sure sometimes. But where did you have it ranked?
I had it ranked at number 7.
So okay, so not far off there, around the same point. Scott Everett, you seem like a Fool's man. Like, was this pretty high for you?
I had it right here at number 6, and that's how good this album is. I think, in that the songs all are kind of muddled together because I like them all the same. There's no standouts. I hate to say there's no standouts, but I like all of them kind of the same. So, I mean, the bass beat and all that stuff is just fantastic, and Dave's lyrics are fantastic on the songs. That just, again, what a great album it is that this sticks. And again, it makes you think about poor Dave's parents trying to keep him in line. And I think that's where these lyrics are coming from. God help him with his rambunctious little ass running around.
It's monkey time.
Couldn't imagine.
They called him, right? Yeah.
Monkey time.
Made a career out of it.
Yeah, but Eric, how about you, man? Where's Fools for you?
I'm actually not happy with my original ranking. I had it at 7 and Could This Be Magic at 6, but I should switch those around. Because now listening to this, I'm reminding myself that was not the right call. Yeah, this is such a great tune. It's one of the early Club Day songs, and it's got that loose as a goose Alex playing on drums. Listen to Mike. On the solo, it's so cool because you hear Mikey on the bass too, thumping away, and Dave's vocals this is Dave at his best vocally, lyrically. This is classic Van Halen. I'm very mad at myself right now. I need to redo the ranking.
Very good. Okay.
Well, it's kind of like what David Lee alluded to earlier, in that tomorrow you could have a completely different idea of where your rankings will go, and then next week something else. I mean, I feel that. I said that about Fair Warning. I said this is my list now, but I guarantee you next week it'll look completely different. So no worries.
I kind of applauded the creativity of I applaud the creativity of Could This Be Magic, but still, it's Van Halen's a rock and roll band, right? Rock and roll song.
It's true. They do it very well, like no other. Speaking of David Lee, where'd you put Fools?
I was the lone fourth on this one. So, like everybody said, I like the whole mini solo thing that Eddie just tears it up, and Dave doing his best. Robert Plant, Janis Joplin, David Coverdale all in one tribute there at the start. I'm going to take from what my friend Lou Figueroa from the Ridiculous Rock Record Reviews podcast said, because recently they reviewed Women and Children First not too long ago. And he called it Dave doing his best tribute to Robert Janis Coverdale. So
I can't not hear it.
Yeah,
now.
that's probably the best way to put it. And then that mini solo. And then it just comes into a complete stomp fest. And, quintessential Van Halen tune, and Dave's lyrics, like Eric said, some of Dave's creative lyrics, he knows what he's writing towards. Angry young schoolboys, and
Exactly.
he must have had and at the end when he's doing his little scat zab zabadoos at the end, he must have brought in Gene Simmons at the end. He must have brought in Gene Simmons at the end. He's like, yeah,
Yeah, you're right.
Thunder.
Oh, Gene.
You're right. You're a very handsome and attractive man.
Absolutely,
Handsome. What is this, Gene?
Enough about me. Let's talk about me.
Gene Simmons is probably trying to take a writing credit though.
Brad, where did Fools fall for you, man?
I was at 5 on this one, and it's like a dirty blues song, and I have to agree with what everybody said. Although, like Eric, I'm annoyed with his rankings too. Right, Eric, go back and fix it.
I'm so mad at myself, Brad.
Yeah,
exactly right.
please.
But it's like such a narrow band. When I said earlier, it's like it's just thin slices of onion. They're all so close, right in the middle of this, that it's. And this one sounds like David is very upset with teachers, and then he gets a little bit older, and he's in high school, and he appreciates them later on 1984, right?
Right.
Nice.
But
It's just what class it was.
right. But it's just a fun song, right? And that's the way I look at it. It's definitely got like a almost like a smoky, honky tonk, blues feel, just jam. And so.
Oh, I can definitely. I'm a Nashville person, so I definitely hear what you're throwing down on the honky tonk feel of it for sure. It's sometimes I can't not hear it, and anyway, echoes in my brain, and it just until I just go crazy. But Chaz, did you put Fools any higher, or are you right there with us?
Sounds of Broadway echoing in my head.
Yeah.
You can hear that stuff walking down any block, right? And from door to door. So
Just about. Yeah.
right, yeah. So all right, this one, in deference to you guys, I ranked And the Cradle Will Rock #1, right? So for me, it would actually come in at #2. This would be my #1 song on the album. So it's on my list at #2. Yeah, my hanging Chaz is going to be infamous here. It's totally screwed up your rankings. Magic would have been bottom of the list for me, like I said. But this one is definitely for me just again the whole spirit of Van Halen, everything I love about the band, the dirty rawness of it. Wasn't really comprehending that this was a club track, and I don't know why I had missed that. So the feel is there. This is for me just like the reason I picked up a guitar, man, was to make it sound like that, especially the intro, and then just the damn, just the stank, just nasty brownness of this tune. For me, this is the best of the brown sound with the two of them, with, like you said, sloppy, really loose Al and honky tonkin' grooving Eddie. That's it. That's the brown sound.
Man, I tell you, with all this divisive sort of thinking and trouble with the rankings, when we get to Van Halen 1 or even 4 Unlawful, like, I'm gonna have a bad time. I'm just gonna have a real bad time ranking those songs, man. I'm not looking forward to those. I mean, I am, because it's gonna be a fun show to talk about.
Wait, can we do a recall? Can we challenge the results here and do a recall?
Yeah.
Have everybody recast
All
the
results are final. No,
Shit.
You heard him. You know,
This
you
is-
can't-
shutting that
This is
shit down
rigged.
right now.
Yeah, it's rigged. Yeah, it was
it's the Corey
stolen.
Morissette
This was
podcasting
stolen.
universe.
You
You don't
got-
question it. You don't question Overlord.
Take it up with the judge.
It was stolen. This was stolen. Okay, I'll
Take your My Pillow and take it up with the judge.
I'm gonna
Then
take my
take your
pillow,
whiskey
go in the back
home.
room there. Yeah, with
Yeah.
whiskey. Yes.
Where'd Fools fall for you there, Corey?
One of Dave's greatest quotes. I was an honor student. Yes, Your Honor. No, Your Honor.
It's tie, Your Honor.
You got it.
I had Fools #5. So it was, right in the middle for me. I really dig Fools. Jeff Brewer had it at #3. Pretty high for him. That's actually about as close as Jeff and I think I've ever gotten on a song. So I'll take that. I was looking at who ranked it 9th, because we're all kind of positive on it. It was actually Nate from the Deep Purple podcast.
What?
Ranked
Nate.
Fools 9th.
No
yeah.
way.
Wow.
Yeah, kind of
Interesting.
surprised on that one. Yeah.
Nate, please reach out. Explain yourself. I'm genuinely curious. But
This is no doubt the most varied ranking Van Halen album of them all. I think.
Yes. Yeah.
Yep.
Crazy.
Tom Armbruster had it at 8.
Wow,
which is low for
interesting. Yeah, just I guess he suffers no fools. That Tom, he's an enchanter.
He certainly doesn't. No, if I make a mistake, he's quick to point it out. So.
Especially with the way the bass stands out in this track, I'm surprised, Tim.
Yeah, the bass player in the group. You think, yeah, good call.
boy.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they're coming.
What did Dave? Dave said this was a heavy duty Broadway shuffle. I
Right.
thought that was a great way to describe it. Right? Sounds like city streets. Now, everyone's doing Louis Armstrong now. That's not David Roth anymore.
Everyone turned into Louis Armstrong like, Dave doesn't sound like that. I'm sure he tried.
I see trees of green.
You saw him on Ellen. Come on.
Yeah. Oh fuck! Shaz did a great impression of David Lee Roth on the Ellen Show. My God, that shit-eating grin is just. What the fuck was that? He's wearing his suit and that. Oh, Lord.
That was embarrassing.
Strike that poor boy down.
When I met Dave in New York City, I got a picture with him, and I didn't look at the picture until I got home. And when I got home, and I got to show it to you guys, I got it somewhere here. And I look at the picture, and there's me, like, and there's him.
What year?
But I bet his teeth are
03,
perfect.
2003. One of the coolest nights ever because he was drinking out a bottle of Jack, and then his bodyguard, who was his bodyguard at the time? Not Eddie Anderson. His bodyguard kept lighting up cigarette after cigarette, and he's bullshitting with Jack White, and he's talking about movies with Jack White, and he's doing all this. And my friend knew his sister, so that's how we got backstage to meet him at the Beacon Theater in New York City. And my friend's girlfriend comes walking up to him, and she puts her hand on the railing, and she says, "Dave, my boyfriend knows your sister," and she's just trying to be friendly with him. And
oh God,
he sees her, and he locks her pinky on the railing, and he said, "Hey, baby, you ever see National Geographic? You ever see the pictures there? National Geographic." I remember hearing that, and she's like. And she's like, she went back and she's like, "I think Dave just hit on me." And then my friend took his bottle of Jack, half empty bottle of Jack, while Dave wasn't looking, took it. And sure enough, they just refilled Dave. Gave him another bottle of Jack.
That exchange sounds borderline either like super inappropriate or just very informative.
But I'll never forget, like walking down you go like this old school hallway and just cement walls and everything, and from miles away, I knew I can hear the laugh. The Dave laugh. I was he's in there, man. He's in there, and you walk in, and there he is. And everybody's going around. This one fan was like, "Dave, you're the reason I got into music because you." And Dave's like, all right. And now he's kept it short and sweet. I was like, "Dave,
I don't know what to say to that."
Yeah. No, Dave was cool though to all the fans. He was not a prick.
That's
he
good.
was not arrogant. He was really cool. He was really.
And now he's wandering around.
Man. He loves his job.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
Yep.
And now he's wandering around hotel rooms in Las Vegas waiting to hear his music coming from a room so he can bang on the door and say, "Hey, that's me." And young kids go, What are you talking about, Grandpa?
I heard you there playing Van Halen. I'm David Lee Roth.
David Lee Roth, and I'm right across the hallway. You're like, "Cool, buddy."
Yeah. Hold on, I'm going to do a YouTube video of some karate moves.
The look
In front of my hot tub with a midget.
Oh my God.
The look on
Mark,
that guy's face. He's like, who are you?
Yeah, what the fuck is this? Do I have to call the police? But Mark, we've been invited on the DLR cast again. They want to talk about David Lee Roth's YouTube channel. And I think there's a lot of material there.
I don't. Are they sure that they want me on the show? Because I don't have
anybody.
No, I
have
would tune in for
nothing
that.
nice to say about any of that.
I think we would tune in for that, Mark. Yes.
Mark, you mean you don't like Dave doing the jazz hands?
I got to tell you, I don't. I like none, like zero, nada of anything I've seen from that YouTube. Like, in fact,
Who is that
Even
for?
with your gummies? I mean, gummy company meant.
I go out of my way to tell people, I dare you to check that YouTube channel out because it's fucking bonkers, and I just don't get it.
And tell me who the fuck that is for. Who is searching YouTube? Like, I wish I could see a grandpa with like a bag of cheeseburgers and some
right
like,
on.
what the fuck is
All
he
right,
thinking?
I fucking love his stuff.
Dave.
I love his YouTube channel.
Oh, man.
I think Dave
Well,
is a
Attaboy,
maniac.
Chaz.
Yeah, I
He's
love Dave.
nuts. I love him.
I love Dave, but some of these videos,
Yeah,
like
but
They're
Yeah.
so insane.
I was putting up a lot of those videos for a while there because he was talking about Van Halen and stuff, so there was something there to work with. And then as I got off way off track, like Jeff,
Oh,
talking to me,
come on.
there was one of them I put up, and Jeff's like, I don't know if you should have put that one up. I was like, yeah, Jeff, he's a little out there,
I just
'Cause
don't
it's
know
like
who's
a
around
fucking
him.
with it.
Like who's around him, or is anybody around him just to say that's not cool? You can't do that.
I think we've
Come
mentioned that.
on,
I think we've
legacy.
talked about that. I don't think there's anybody like pulling the chain back, going like, nah, maybe not that one,
Right.
Dave. Like maybe think about that. Like no,
Someone-
Kevin
Yeah.
Brown put it best when he said it's like the grandkids going to Grandpa and saying, "You don't need to be on TikTok, Grandpa. Technology has passed you by. Give me the cell phone. You just watch TV or whatever. Put your
Just
slippers
saying.
on."
They need to
I-
do social
put on
media.
your favorite Louis
intervention.
Armstrong album for you. Here you go.
I think they're all old though, and I think they're all old, and he keeps hearing to empty the vault. He's
Yeah.
getting confused about which vault we're talking about.
Yeah.
His personal vault versus Eddie's
20
vault.
years ago. They're from 20 years ago.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
the last
Most of
record
the-
he did, right? David Lee Roth or something like
Yeah,
that.
wrong vault.
Diamond Dave.
Yeah.
But
Diamond
most of
Dave,
these
yeah.
guys, who's telling them no? Most
That's
of
what I'm
these
saying.
guys-
He's
Yeah,
surrounded.
nobody's
by
nobody's
it.
telling
Yeah.
them.
Nobody's gonna dare tell him no.
No,
must
he
be on
obviously
that.
owns it all. He's just
Yeah.
he's just using his content.
And,
That's what
and
he's
here,
doing.
here we are, like if I was with Dave right now and Dave's like, what'd you think of my YouTube channel? I love it, Dave.
I
Fuck,
bet, right?
brilliant.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
love it.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, it's brilliant. It
Like
really
it's
is.
interesting stuff, Dave. Like
You
it's
are
like
a creative genius.
interesting
There.
stuff.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Very cerebral. People just
Ooh.
don't get it. Like it's so out. It's brilliant. You just don't get it. Yeah.
But and,
Well,
the cool Dave, like Alan from the Tapes Archive just put up a really great interview with Dave from '85, and that's the fucking cool Dave, man. That's rock
Yeah.
and roll Dave,
Yeah.
and he will forever
back in the
be
day.
Diamond Dave.
Yeah, back in the day though, he was the lure. I mean, it was the entire band, but David was a showman. That guy,
The
when he
coolest
was- he
motherfucker
was hard.
This guy in the world.
Yeah,
Hard to
that's-
throw in the bass early on.
That's why. Yeah,
It was
I would
unbelievable.
argue
All four of them. It was unbelievable.
Yeah,
his stuff might be whacked out, Eric, but come on, man.
I
He's
still
just
love
as
him.
much as
Yep.
that. Yeah,
I'm
he's
with you,
as
guys.
much as Van Halen.
I
Yeah.
love Dave, man.
He has a sense of humor.
We are all
Yeah.
still talking about him.
Love him.
That's
it,
right.
Right here we
That's
are.
right.
Yeah. Here we are.
You can't
Diamond
take that
Dave.
away from him. You can't take that. away.
Chaz, you wanted to take Mark to task because Mark said Sammy was the better musician.
Yeah.
Remember?
Well, then I got the context that he was talking about
Oh, okay.
versus
Okay.
Dave. I think Dave has great musical sensibility. No, I don't think he's a bad
Mhm.
musician, but no, to Mark's point, I think Sammy's more musically inclined, or if you were to look at the structure of his songs and the way he approaches the craft differently than Dave. But no, I would argue that Roth is a hell of a musician in his own right,
He is,
and it
too.
goes beyond his voice. It is his entire musical sensibility, his showmanship, everything he brings to it. No, man, I love breaking balls on David Lee Roth all day, but at the end of the day,
Yeah.
he is the man for me. Yeah.
Oh, he definitely is a show.
But I respect Sammy. I respect
Yeah.
his songcraft. I was a fan of the Red Rocker. I had the shorts in high school and the t-shirts, and I bought his clothing line, and I liked him before he joined Van Halen. So no, I appreciate him, but I think they're just different. And to say that one's a better musician than the other, I would say one's
I'm
more
with Mark on-
musically inclined, one more technical
I'm with
or
Mark on this
musical.
one completely.
It's like, I get what you're coming from, but I said what I said, and I'm sticking with it.
That's why I love you, man. You just stand right with it. That's cool. That's cool.
I'm with Mark 100% on this. Dave's a performer.
hmm
Dave's a great lyricist.
He's a musician.
Sammy's a musician.
I will say Dave is like you said, Chaz. I'll give you credit. A musician in his own right, and definitely
He's lyrical. The man
really-
moves lyrically.
He
I mean,
definitely
he's
has
always-
a musical sensibility to him. You can't take that away, because if he didn't, then he would not be the showman that we know him for. He would definitely not have lasted very long in Van Halen, to even the extent that he did. But just on a musicality, strictly like
yeah.
technical musicality level, no, I'm giving that one to Sammy all day. But
They're
again,
very similar, though. They both contributed to the songwriting. Ed comes in
Oh,
with
yeah.
the music, and then
Yeah.
Dave, like Sammy, would say, let's shorten that up. Let's add a chorus here. Let's add a hook there. Let's kind of double. Let's do that twice. Then do the bridge. All that shit. Dave's doing. I mean, music is just one of the many talents of Dave. Dave's like extremely creative, bright, so creative that he can't stay in one lane for too long. He's got to do different things every time. Otherwise he will go nuts.
Mhm.
oh sure.
That's what Templeman was also beneficial to Dave as much as he was to Ed, because it's like, all right, guys, let's rein it in. Because then when you see them on the road, it's Van Halen 3 and it's, Your Filthy Little Mouth. It's like, whoa, it's like, okay, we're going way, let's rein it back in.
Mhm.
But to me, Dave is, I'll say Dave is fucking brilliant. I mean, he's mad,
Yeah.
but he's just so different than Sammy in that sense. He's just like colorful performer.
Well, but here's the thing, and from a Dave guy, so I'm all with you. But I'll say that guess what though? I would concede that Sammy was an influence on Dave, and Sammy is more the granddaddy of the genre we all know and love than Dave because of his contribution to Montrose so fucking early and the songs that he wrote.
Yeah.
He was the blueprint. I think even Chris Cornell would have been one to say, "Yep, Sammy Hagar, baby."
I don't
Montrose.
know, man. I think you're giving
Absolutely.
Montrose. I
So,
love Montrose, but I think you're giving him too much.
I'm so glad you brought up the Montrose thing, because I was thinking that. Speaking of the R4 podcast again, I reviewed that Montrose album not too long ago on R4, and I mentioned that Van Halen back in the club days, they covered the song "Make It
Right.
Last."
Yeah.
And they did that in one of their bootlegs. So you could totally hear the influence from Montrose, and maybe Sammy was in the back of Eddie's mind, because when they had that, because you could totally hear the influence, especially
Influence on all of them is a point. Sammy was an influence
sure.
on the whole genre beyond Van Halen. I mean, Sammy
there's certain
influenced a
things-
generation. Yeah.
Well,
There's something
Cabo
brothers
Wabo
brought
is
to the
Make It
table.
Last. It's influenced by Make It
Similar.
Last.
Yeah,
Very
no,
similar.
totally it is. It's a remake of it, really. But
Yeah.
there's certain things the brothers brought to the table, and there's certain things Dave brought to the table. And I
Yeah,
don't think
totally.
Dave brought Montrose to the table. Like I don't think Sammy was an influence on him. I don't think.
No. Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't see
don't
that.
know.
Yeah, I think
Sammy was all trying to do all that showman stuff early on.
If
that
you
didn't
ask
work out,
Dave,
but
he
they
will
were all out
absolutely
there.
say no
He would
chance.
never admit it.
Really would.
But come
He'll
on
never
now.
admit it.
Didn't
I don't think
Templeman
so.
want to put Sammy in the band before Dave? I mean, come on,
yeah,
right?
he
Going way
considered
back.
it. Yeah.
Right?
Considered it.
So
I think
they
that was
were all
Van
there
Halen
at the
Rising,
same
wasn't it?
time. Yeah, I think there was more influence than anybody gives him credit for, including
All
and
right.
especially Dave.
Well,
I got to put this train back on the tracks before we get more Sammy versus Dave. We're talking
Whole
women and
separate
children first.
podcast.
Yeah.
Yes, right. We're talking about song number 5. So let's start playing song number 5.
Oh yeah.
12-string Rickenbacker. In a Simple Rhyme comes in at number 5. Total points 137. It was ranked first by 2 people. It was ranked 9th by 2 people. It was ranked 8th by 4 people, 7th by 5 people, 6th by 4, 5th by 6, 4th by 3, 3rd by 2, and 2nd by 2 people. So again, all over the bloody map for In a Simple Rhyme.
All right. Yeah. Wow. I wouldn't have pictured this one. I knew this was going to be higher for probably most everybody except for me. I put this at my number 7. Not really. I mean, there's no real. Again, I had a really hard time ranking these songs from a certain point. This one, though, I was like, I think this one's probably going to fall to the wayside just because I think there are 6 better ones. But that doesn't mean the song is bad whatsoever. But I had a feeling it was probably going to be ranked a little bit higher. I mean, I see a couple people have this as their number 1. So
That's right. Two of our patrons, actually, Michael Griffith and Matt Lacoste, had it at number 1.
Matt Lacoste, look at that.
That's right.
That's a shocker. I wouldn't have predicted that. I would have put it really high on his list, but not at number 1. Cool stuff. All right. Well, I'm gonna throw it over to Brad. Where'd you put in a simple rhyme?
I had it at 3. It's a lot. It's just really balanced for me. It's a really balanced Van Halen song. All of the elements of Van Halen are there, and yeah, it's a little catchy. You got great guitars, you got great lyrics, you got great harmonies. Alex is shredding, so yeah.
Yeah, I mean, no argument there whatsoever. Chaz, how about you, man?
Actually, this came in at the bottom of the pile for me for the simple reason that I've always felt like the lyrics were being forced in there. Like they didn't finish this one. This one, like the music to me, like as a musician, I can understand where the song, the way, like there's not really a lot of pop sensibility in it for me. Like, so I heard somebody say that here. That's not in this for me. It felt like they had this musical idea that they really didn't want to, get rid of, because it's a great idea. There's some interesting things going on there, but it's not conventional. And where Dave went with the lyrics and the way they're being delivered to me, and I don't know, maybe it's the production, it just sounds thin. Like they could have had some more backing vocals at certain periods of time, and it just didn't feel as full or as rich as it could have been. So not that it's bad, again, it's just not, to me, this was like one of the rougher songs on the album, frankly.
I think you nailed it in terms of like why it fell so low on my list as well. Again, yeah, not that it's bad whatsoever. It's just, yeah, it does feel a little bit thin. Could be a production thing, or it could have just been like a structure thing. Who knows? But yeah, I think you're onto something there. Heath, how about yourself?
MVP in this song, Alex Van Halen. He's just,
Yes, sir.
I love what he's doing on here. His like the intro that he comes in with, and all his fills all the way through it. He's just driving the song. But I think it's a great song. Actually, I think it's really poppy. I think it's one of the more underrated, underappreciated, kind of unknown tracks. One of the best deep tracks. I just love there's such beautiful harmonies in it, and it's weird. A lot of critics, when they talk about it, I've heard a few critics kind of compare it to The Who. And I love The Who. And I'm always up and down on that. I'm like, The Who? I don't know if I can hear it. But I kind of do, because the Who, on Tommy and Who's Next and stuff, they used to do this kind of multi-suite sort of songs. They go all over the place, different sections. And I can see that. I can see that Van Halen is such a different band than The Who, so maybe it's why it doesn't always click with me, but I can actually see The Who comparison in that song. And yeah.
The harmonies at the end, I'm right there with you. Right there at the end, I can feel that. Yeah.
I wouldn't have guessed The Who at the moment, but the moment you said it, I heard it and like, oh, yep, okay. And Tom screaming growth. Yeah. So. Davey Lee, how you doing? Where you find this one for you?
This was my 6th. Again, tough to rank these songs. But yeah, the little like you said, Alex Van Halen. Yeah, he owns this song. I think he's the star of the song here, because that beat is just absolutely, typical Al. I mean, some of Al's best drumming, I think. Very underappreciated deep track. Eddie again shreds the harmonies, the dreamy kind of harmonized little I guess more or less breakdown section right before the solo, the dreamy section. And then growth really would have been cool if it would have been a flushed out track, or maybe start off Fair Warning, or maybe just had flush out a bit more. But yeah, again, this was tough for me to rank this, but yeah, totally one of their underappreciated deep tracks, I think.
Indeed. Scott Everett, looking at you, man. Where'd you put it?
I had it 3rd. I overlooked this song for years, and then the 2015 tour started. We were all on the Van Halen news desk, following the chat to kind of see what the set list was going to be on, and it was there. And it was like, what? They're playing that? And then everyone, that's where kind of growth picked up where everyone found out what growth was. We were all researching what the hell growth was because they were playing it in 2015 as well. Saw him in Dallas in 2015, played it live in the dark of night, and it was awesome. Dave actually did a fantastic job singing this one in 2015, and that wasn't always something we could say in 2015 because he struggled throughout that tour. But that night he did.
Was one he could nail. Yeah,
he actually nailed it. I do love the lyrics. I think they kind of mixed up the music. It's a little bit different for Van Halen. I just love this song. I didn't always love this song, but ever since the 2015 tour, I've loved this song.
There you go. Since 2015. Ben, where did it fall for you?
I had it at number 5. I love this song. It's really symphonic almost. I think it has a lot to do with Ted Templeton and Don Landy mixing and arranging this song. It's almost shades of little guitars a little bit with Eddie, but to me it's Michael with the harmonies and the bass. Alex is phenomenal. But the thing I love about this is at the end when they fade off of this album, that dun 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 dun, it's basically saying, now take that, motherfucker. That's the way I look at that. You know, after you've listened to the whole album and then they just put that on the end, like, now there it is, and it's amazing. The track's great. I love it.
Well, there you go. Yeah, I echo that. And Johnny Beans joined the chat. You got some explaining to do, Johnny Bean. But before you do,
Johnny
Eric,
Bean had it 5th. Johnny Bean had a 5th.
He had it 5th. Okay.
he had a 5th, and is that why he was late? He had a 5th before. Oh, sorry. No.
I had a 5th. He had it.
Oh, I had a 2. I love it. Fucking song, man. My number 1 song and this one might be like the two best Van Halen deep tracks of the Dave era. And I think this should have been a single. And I actually don't hear what were they saying that they compared it to what band again?
The Who.
The Who. Yeah, I'm not hearing that, but I'm hearing Zeppelin, like Presence era Zeppelin.
Yeah.
In fact, Eddie was going to do more of an acoustic opening, and then he changed it up because he didn't want it to sound like Zeppelin. Not that he wasn't a fan; he just wanted to separate themselves. But still, it's got that kind of epic journey to it, and the lyrics. Dave is perfect at that when those perfect harmonies come in. She made the mountains sing, birds against an icy sky. Perfect.
Absolutely.
Dave, right there, baby. Yeah, this is such an awesome tune. And I'm glad they played it on the 2015 tour. And somebody had just mentioned, thank you, Wolfgang. He's the one who put it in the list. Yeah, number 2.
There you go, number 2. So again, divisive, but there you have it.
I'm just inviting Johnny to the panel here. Hopefully.
Oh yeah, right on.
Johnny,
yeah.
Call him out.
Yeah. Let's get him on here because let's see. In a simple rhyme, I had it number 4. I really dig this tune. This goes all the way back to the Backyard Party days. It was on the Warner demo. It was called just Simple Rhyme, I think, back in those days. I dig the hell out of this track. And you mentioned Alex's unsung hero. Let's throw a shout out to Mikey too. I'm reading Tone Chaser by Steve Rosen, and as far back as Van Halen 2, Eddie is bitching about Mike Anthony. I hate his tone. I hate everything he does. He doesn't contribute and all that. Mikey is great on this track. Like I just want to throw him a bone and say Mike Anthony, fantastic fucking bass player. Aside from the amazing harmonies, great bass player. He gets to showcase a little bit on here. He's not just playing eighth notes, right? He gets to do a little melodic thing there during the end. I love Mikey on this track. He's my unsung hero on Innocent.
And he's smoking a big fat spleef on the back of the fucking album.
Yeah.
That's right.
Love it.
There you go. That's it. And we end up saying that about every damn song. So I think we should just all acknowledge and all hail Mikey. He's he really is. He deserves much more respect than he gets.
And it should be noted that Eddie did say in interviews back in the day that Michael was the perfect bassist because he intentionally would step back. He could do more, but he would step back so Eddie can do more of what he does. So that way they're not fighting with each other.
Right.
Yeah, but it became his Achilles heel with Eddie right at the end.
Yeah.
I mean, Eddie, unfortunately.
It was just song. I think it was just publishing, which happens with so many bands. How come this guy's getting all the publishing and he's never writing a song? I mean, in Mike's defense, it's like, you want me to write a song with you in the band?
Right. Totally.
You want me
Right.
to write a fucking song?
Right.
He was
Well,
straight
yeah.
up. Right. He said that
And
to him,
it's
right?
weird. Different bands work differently. Queen was the opposite. They got more together when they contributed, when they just put everything, every member of the band had an equal share in every single song. They did that from The Miracle on.
Well, yeah,
when they were fighting.
And they
all
pissed
yeah,
each
'cause-
other off all through the creative
That's right.
process. Yeah. And
Yeah,
that's what-
because when they were fighting for publishing, you got Freddie Mercury writing Bohemian Rhapsody, and then Roger putting his shitty song about loving his car on the B
I
side.
love
He
that
made just as much
car.
money
That's
as Freddie did on "I'm in Love with My Car."
Right.
So when and John Deacon, like they had three amazing songwriters, and they had Roger Taylor. So Roger would just kind of glom on like a barnacle to whichever hit song he could as a B side and make as much money. When they actually split the publishing 4 ways, they came together as a band. Van Halen was the opposite, right? They had everything 4 ways, and then 3 of them were like, "Well, why the fuck is Mikey getting a share?"
Yeah.
And it became a bone of contention for them. So it's weird that with different bands, different strokes for different folks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You take the
like a
good, you
rush.
take the bad, you take them both, and there you have the facts of life.
Wow. You have to mix that in post production.
Our younger audience is gonna be like, "What the shit?"
I was going to say, Mark, yes. I love
Where's
this current pop culture reference there.
That's right.
Tootie and
What's the
Blair.
deal with the Jeffersons? Remember the Jeffersons?
Yes.
Gonna
All
move on up to the east side.
That's right. Mark, where did you have In a Simple Rhyme?
I had this at 7. Again, and like I mentioned earlier, it's not to say that this song is so bad it belongs low on the list. It was just this was one of the top 7 that was really difficult to rank, and it couldn't quite get there to the level of it couldn't get past Fools, and it definitely wasn't going to make my top 5. So it just by necessity had to be number 7.
Hey folks, Corey here, and we're about halfway through the Women and Children First rankings. We're going to cut it there for today, but join us next week and find out how we ranked the top 4 songs off of Women and Children First. And until then, as always, please check out all of our friends at the Deep Dive Podcasting Network, www.deepdivepodcastingnetwork.com. And of course, you can check out everything about our show at www.podcastwillrock.com. So until next time, on behalf of Mark Kameyer, we are and the podcast will rock, and we will rock you later.